are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone, and welcome to eGestalt's webinar on how to build and streamline your security and compliance practice through software automation. My name is Nate Miller, and I'm the Regional Sales Manager for eGestalt Technologies, and today I'll be leading the webinar and going through how our software tool, Secure GRC, can help to improve the management of your security and compliance practice. So let's get started here. So here we have listed some of the key operational challenges that managed security service providers, security auditors, managed service providers, IT service providers face when delivering compliance services to their end users. So we have continuously monitoring the compliance and IT security of clients can be a tremendous challenge. A lot of times, especially on the compliance piece, it's done as a one-time event and then is kind of allowed to slip until that, the next audit point comes up. And then IT security, I mean, with continuous monitoring, this can be, more kind of constant than the compliance piece, but that can also be a challenge there. Assessing client risk from vendors is another big one, especially in the HIPAA high-tech world. Covered entities, the actual medical providers, are required to make sure that all of their vendors are also HIPAA high-tech compliant. Otherwise, they could be held liable if they lose the patient data. So it can be a tremendous challenge, especially for the larger covered entities, a hospital, that kind of organization that can have hundreds, if not thousands, of different vendors who they don't know sort of their compliance status. Customers that are subject to multiple regulations are also a challenge. You can end up doing a lot of duplication of work as you answer multiple questionnaires for multiple regulations. So kind of harmonizing compliance across regulations and as well as within. I mean, if you look at, say, HIPAA high-tech, there's a lot of questions that are really duplicated across the security and privacy rules. So can be a lot of wasted effort there answering different compliance-related questions twice. And then integrating vulnerability scanning and compliance assessments is another one that we will cover today. And this is a new feature in Secure GRC, our compliance automation tool that we're really excited about. As it stands today, a lot of times compliance, governance, risk, and compliance and IT security don't really play that well together. They're usually kind of handled as separate pieces, even though, I mean, there is a tremendous overlap there. But with our some new features in Secure GRC, we are leading the way in integrating these different areas and streamlining the management of them, updating, really automating the process and making it much easier for a security business to deliver these services. And then report creation can be another challenge. Just if it's a template-based process, continuously updating those, or if you're kind of doing them as one-offs on an ad hoc basis, that can really take up a lot of time. And much of the work can be automated and done, just based on the compliance assessment and really speed up the process. So we'll cover that as well. And then just as your security practice grows, managing multiple clients across different stages of compliance can be a challenge. If you're going in and doing a one-time audit and then leaving the environment, that's fairly straightforward. But if you're providing ongoing services, it really can help you to have a tool to to be able to manage your entire practice from a single view, to be able to check in at any time on where your customers stand, and really get your hands around your entire business, rather than just having multiple spreadsheets of the compliance assessments for your customers or a similar approach. So these are the topics we'll be covering today, so we'll dive right in here and go through a little about Secure GRC. So this is just a basic workflow of how kind of compliance services and IT security services are generally delivered. There's either the self-assessment or the audit stage, where the initial stage. From there, you get into the risk modeling based on those initial answers, going through and seeing where their vulnerabilities actually are. The risk remediation can really, as a sort of first pass, where you're going through and remediating easy to remediate items. From there, we can help you sort of automate the report on compliance and break down for your customer, give them a comprehensive report on where they stand. After that, you'll walk through with your customer where they stand based on that report, and really create here a roadmap for remediating the non-compliant items. So, as you go through and look, and if they, need to upgrade their network, or, there's increased scanning they need to do, log management, whatever it may be, you can create a roadmap to implement those. As generally it's not going to be kind of an instantly able to remediate all items. So really need to prioritize there and remediate the higher risk items first. And from there, once you do have your client to a fairly acceptable IT security and GRC status, continuous monitoring can really be a challenge, but at the same time, it's one of the most important aspects. It can obviously have benefits where your customers are staying more compliant on a day-to-day basis, and thus more secure, reducing the risk of any breaches, any data loss that might bring additional scrutiny, bad press, those sort of things. And then also it just makes the, when you go through the next self-assessment or audit phase, it makes it that much easier to do that. You've been continually keeping up, you or the customer, on their compliance. So any changes in the environment have been updated. They've been documenting any remediation they've been doing. And so once you get back to that, that audit self-assessment phase, much of the work is already done. So beyond the benefits of the increased compliance and security on a day-to-day basis, it makes the repeat of that process less painful. So compliance really is not a single event. So here it's just kind of laid out how compliance and security is generally handled. There are some efforts made ahead of an audit to get more compliant and secure. The audit happens, things begin to slip, and it keeps declining as time goes on. There's another audit event. A bunch more efforts are taken. The customer gets closer to the gold standard there, and the process kind of repeats itself. But when there's that slippage in compliance and security, there's an increase in their risk. They're more vulnerable for that time, exposing themselves to hackers, to data theft, to data loss, and so it really decreases the effectiveness of all of the hard work you and the customer are putting in. When you're getting them more compliant. So eGestalt really sees compliance as a continuous process, and we built our tool as such. So Secure GRC, we really envision it as being used as a continuous compliance tool. So there are several versions. There's kind of a point-in-time audit tool, but it's really best used as a continuous compliance tool throughout the year. So as any changes are made in an environment, their assessment is updated as there's automatic reminders scheduled into the tool. So when you're actually going through there, and you can set up in the tool different reminders to go out at different points to check different things. You can have assessments go out quarterly or whatever it may be. So we really try and kind of help bridge that gap between compliance and security and keeping a customer continuously up to date. So here I'll go over the Secure GRC tool a little from a high level and then we can get more into the nuts and bolts of the tool itself. But so there's really three different tools, all built on the same platform. The enterprise version is a really powerful, fully customizable IT security and GRC tool. It can support PCI, HIPAA, different country-specific frameworks, really anything that's in the unified compliance framework, which the back end of the tool is built on. And that's the unified compliance framework is a set of nearly 400 regulations, kind of covers worldwide. And we can plug really any of those that are mapped in there into the tool. And so those assessments are available to go. The most content right now is around PCI and HIPAA, but based on your needs, we can plug in different, whether it be ISO, NIST, GLBA, whatever it may be. It can be used either as a self-assessment, more by the end user, or sort of a pre-audit by the end user to get themselves ahead of the game before an audit, or used as an audit tool, and then also as a continuous compliance tool like we just discussed. The security posture assessment is something I mentioned before as well, and that is that's the portion of the tool that really integrates with vulnerability scanners and can automatically map the vulnerabilities found in a scan to different security risks and then also different compliance controls. So basically, you would upload the data from a vulnerability scan, and it would be mapped to, just in a general IT security way. But if you were, using a specific framework, it would also map those vulnerabilities to whatever control they might violate. There's a policy risk management module. So, we have a complete set of sample forms and procedures in the tool. But there's also, if the customer has existing ones, you can also manage them from a centralized repository, evaluate the risk there, and keep them all up to date from the cloud in a centralized location. And with the policies there, you can do inline editing, a lot of different features that really increase the flexibility, and all the customer data would be auto-filled with the sample forms and procedures, so there's not a lot of extra effort there. You can manage assets from the tool and also create different workflows, different user roles, based on your customer's needs. The SB or small business version is a more kind of cookie-cutter approach. It's just it doesn't have the customization features, and it's just ready to go out of the box for either HIPAA high-tech or level 3 and 4 PCI compliance assessments. And there is a point-in-time version available and also a continuous compliance version. So you can kind of take either approach. And then the last one we'll go over here is HiScan. And HiScan is a way to manage those external vendors in the HIPAA high-tech world. They are called business associates through an automated fashion. So basically, skip ahead here. Basically, you would upload a spreadsheet of all of the all of the vendors for a customer into the tool, and a shortened assessment would be sent out to them, covering really the high-level points that that would be needed to understand their compliance. So you would work in conjunction with the customer to get the list of their vendors, and also notify those vendors that, hey, if you want to continue to do business with this customer, you need to answer this assessment we're going to be sending out. From the tool, emails go out to all of those, all the people uploaded through the spreadsheet, and so they're notified that here's a link to log into the tool, start your assessment, and go through there. As they answer their questions, all of the answers roll up, so you have a high-level view, you and the customer, of who their compliant vendors are, who are their non-compliant ones, who are the highest risk ones based on their answers, and then you can target the non-compliant, the high-risk ones, for additional remediation. So obviously, this is a great way to sell more services, working with that customer who wants their vendors to be more secure and compliant, and it provides tremendous value for the customers themselves. A lot of times they internally they'll manage vendor risk sort of through an ad hoc process where maybe someone fairly junior is tasked with managing hundreds of business associates, keeping all their information up to date and that sort of thing. So it can really help automate and streamline the process and provide upper management with a great view of where their risk is coming from. So to go over the security posture assessment a little here, there's literally thousands, if not millions, of different vulnerabilities out there that security scans can find, and correctly mapping them can be a tremendous challenge. So we have in the tool gone through and customized it to allow it to accept output from scanning tools and then automatically map it. The security posture assessment, which can either be sold as a standalone service, or it can be integrated with with compliance assessments. So either way, it offers a lot of value there. But there's a lot, the features, it has the vulnerability management features, so it'll map those automatically, rank the risk. The compliance automation, where the controls different vulnerabilities violate or automatically mapped without any work on your end. Can manage assets and see which are the riskiest assets. Incident management, and the pricing is really aggressive for the SMB space. We were building in the ability to deliver vulnerability scans through the cloud with native integration with some scanning tools. So we've been able to kind of cut special deals with the scanning company to deliver those scans. So the pricing really allows you to deliver this kind of service at a previously unheard of price. We'll go through the tool a little here now that we've covered some of the features, but Secure GRC really at its core is a way to deliver web-based assessments, whether they be self-assessments for the customer or you're using it more as an audit tool and doing the work as an auditor. But this is the view, and it's sold as cloud-based software as a service, and it's sold as an annual subscription. So there's nothing to install from your end. You can very easily provision new clients, very easy to set up, and it's all done through a web-based portal. So within about 5 minutes, you can have a new customer up and running with their assessment, have them automatically notified through an email that their assessment is ready to go. And everything obviously is broken down into yes/no questions. The customer and you as well, this is a dashboard that they would be able to see while they go through their assessment. There's this sort of temperature gauge up here that gets closer and closer to green as they go through the assessment. The progress chart lists the total number of questions they have remaining to be answered, and then also the total number of unique questions. And I touched on this a little before, but the number of unique questions is a lot less because we've harmonized both within and across regulations here. So any question that applies to multiple regulations and multiple areas, once it's answered once, it would be auto-filled across the assessment. So can really speed up the assessment process and reduce the duplication of effort. And then there's always the risk chart available, mapping out based on their answers the number of very high, medium, and low risk items and compliant. And this is always available just at a click in the tool at the bottom on the toolbar there. So from your perspective as a managed security service provider or auditor, you'll have a master console where you're able to see kind of the compliance assessment for all of your customers, see how far along they are in their assessments, how many assessments they've been provisioned throughout the throughout the quarter, throughout the year, whatever view you'd like to take, and then how much the customers have actually used the tool, whether they've gone through and completed the assessment, and those sort of things. So this can really help you, from a high level manage your security and compliance practice. And the tool is to be used as a managed compliance tool. So it can, what remote monitoring and those sort of things did for the, managed service space, that this tool can really help with the managed compliance space in that manner. So the security posture assessment, it is designed to address the really mind-boggling number of vulnerabilities and different regulatory controls. And so going through and based off a vulnerability scan, mapping these in a manual fashion can be extremely time-consuming and really, reduce your margins and, increase the cost of your service. So we've gone through and done all the back-end mapping ourselves. So we've covered it a little already, but anytime you upload that data from a scanner, it's easily mapped, and quickly and easily you can deliver reports on this, map it to this compliance controls and those sort of things. This included in the security posture assessment, there's the asset management, vulnerability assessment, log management, those sort of things. And so this is all, designed to roll up and really end up decreasing risk profiles, increasing the visibility, the reporting capability, and ultimately, reducing the risk, any possible data losses for your customers. So this just breaks down sort of the general workflow we built in, and the security posture assessment, I think it's going to be a real game changer in the industry to be able to automate this process. So some of the security posture assessment benefits are listed here, and we've gone over most of these. But I'll focus more here on the benefits to the actual service provider, just that you from a centralized operations center can manage all of your customers. We are going to have native integration with Rapid7 for the scanning to be able to deliver it from the cloud. For smaller networks, you would be able to deliver it with no software installed at the customer site, just completely cloud-based scan. With a larger network, there's just a small program that needs to be installed, but it's a lot less cumbersome than most security scanning tools. And we are going to support other tools. We support rather other tools like Qualys, Nessus, EI. Saint is on the roadmap. It's not currently supported, but those tools aren't going to be natively integrated. So you would have to do the scan separately and then upload the data file into the tool. So there's just a small step there, but with Rapid7 you'll be able to do that, just basically at a click and not have to deal with the uploading. It'll all be integrated in a single view. So this is just a quick snapshot of the security posture assessment screen. The vulnerability report there just breaks down there, how many different sort of violations, vulnerabilities were found in specific areas, and that breaks out the total number there. Then the risk model has broken out how many critical high, medium, low, and very low items there are, and then there's a complete breakdown of the vulnerability details. And you can, from this view, you can produce reports, produce different different views, and also make this available to your customers for them to understand their risk there. After doing either a compliance assessment or using the security posture assessment in conjunction with the compliance assessment, the tool can help you automate the creation of a report on compliance. So basically with several clicks you can generate a completely formatted document that breaks out, based on the entire risk assessment, their compliance status and different existing vulnerabilities. So you can also filter in here, so if you only wanted to show compliant items, or if you wanted to show all the vulnerabilities that were found, or if you just wanted to show maybe very high-risk items, you can customize that with just a couple clicks, generate a new report, and this report comes out in Word format, and so there's a section where you can customize it as well. Put your recommendations in there and really use it as a selling tool. So in that customizable section, create that roadmap and go from there. So there you'll be able to highlight other products and services you offer to remediate different gaps that were found through the assessment process. And just the automation of this step can save quite a bit of time and effort. So just eGestalt, to highlight some of the benefits of partnering with us. We're the first true cloud-based security and IT governance, risk, and compliance platform, and we're 100% channel focused. And with those first two items in mind, we built the tool from the ground up in the cloud with the channel in mind, so it really provides those managed compliance features. We've unified the risk management and the vulnerability pieces, and the solution can scale from a single user, a single doctor in an office, a small PCI, level 4 customer, maybe just a single location deli or something, all the way up to an enterprise user. We support hospitals, large PCI level 2, level 1 customers, and all of the the policy, procedures, best practices, that sort of additional content is all built in and included for free. And as I mentioned a little before, we have a really breakthrough pricing. Compared to other solutions out there, your Archers, Edge Alliances, we're 10x to 20x cheaper per deployment. And then on the small business side, we're extremely competitive as well on price there. So we So those are some of the benefits of partnering with eGestalt. And as always, feel free, here's my contact info. Feel free to reach out directly if you'd like to, talk about our partner program, set up a one-on-one demo or anything like that. Or if you're interested in getting the slide deck, please reach out as well and I can provide that. So thank you for joining us today, everyone, and we will wrap this up.